on the plains of Shinear. The sun rises, but its light is already eclipsed by a shadow of our own making. The great tower, a finger of baked brick pointing defiantly at the heavens, casts its long morning shadow over our sprawling city. Even before the first rays of dawn warm the earth, the work begins. A low hum, a single voice in 1,000 throats, ripples across the plain. It's the sound of unity, the sound of a people speaking one language, thinking one thought, dreaming one dream. The air is thick with the scent of ambition. It's a mixture of dust kicked up by 10,000 sandals, the earthy smell of wet clay being molded in countless pits, and the sharp, acrid aroma of bitumen bubbling in great cauldrons. We call it slime in our tongue, a black, sticky gift from the earth that we use as mortar. It seals our bricks, binding them together with a strength we believe is unbreakable, just like the bonds between us, the builders. My name is Elam, and I am a bricklayer. But I am more than that. I am a builder of the future, a climber of the sky. Each day I ascend the great spiraling ramp that winds around our creation. Below me, the world shrinks. The Euphrates becomes a silver ribbon, the fields a patchwork quilt, and the houses of our city, once our greatest pride, now look like a child's scattered toys. The ascent is a journey in itself. I pass legions of men, their bodies gleaming with sweat, their muscles straining under heavy loads. There are the diggers, their backs bent as they claw clay from the earth. There are the moulders, their hands moving with a rhythmic grace, pressing the wet earth into perfect rectangles. Then come the killmasters, men with faces hardened by fire, who bake the bricks until they are as tough as stone. And finally, there are the carriers, an endless column of ant-like figures, hauling the finished bricks and bubbling bitumen up the ramp to us, the layers. We all speak the same tongue. A call for more bricks from the top is understood at the bottom. A warning of a slipping stone is heard and heeded instantly. Our words are our most powerful tool, more vital than any hammer or trowel. This shared language has made us more than just a collection of men. It has made us a single, colossal organism with the tower as its spine. We move, we work, we build as one. When I reach my designated level for the day, the wind is a constant companion. It whips at my tunic and sings a high, thin song in my ears. From up here, the clouds are no longer distant puffs of white. They are our neighbors. We can see their bellies, grey and heavy with rain. We can almost feel their cool moisture on our faces. This proximity to the divine fills us with an intoxicating sense of power. We are no longer just men of the earth. We are becoming men of the sky. Our leader, the great king, often stands at the summit, his silhouette a tiny speck against the vast blue. He tells us we are not just building a tower. We are building a name for ourselves. A monument so grand that it will prevent us from ever being scattered across the face of the earth again. We are building a gateway to the heavens, a place where man can meet God on his own terms. His words echo in our hearts, fanning the flames of our pride. We are invincible. My partner on the wall is a man named Ashur. His hands are as calloused as mine, his face as weathered by the sun and wind. We work in perfect synchrony, a ballet of brick and mortar. He lays the bitumen, a glistening black stripe, and I set the brick, tapping it into place with the handle of my trowel. Thud, thud, thud. It's the heartbeat of our project. Layer upon layer, we climb higher. We used to talk of our families, of the harvest of simple things. But now our conversations are consumed by the tower. Another 10 cubits and we'll be above that cloud. Ashur will say, pointing with his trowel. Do you think we'll be able to see the edge of the world from the top? Another man might ask, the ambition has become an obsession. We no longer build for shelter or for community. We build to conquer. We build to defy. We work from sunrise to sunset, and even when darkness falls, the work doesn't truly stop. Great fires are lit at the base, their flickering light making the tower seem alive, a breathing giant against the starry night. The sound of hammering and distant shouts continues into the late hours. We sleep, but we dream of bricks and sky. We eat, but the food is just fuel to lift another stone. Our lives have been distilled down to this single, monumental purpose. Yesterday, something felt different. The air was unnaturally still. The usual wind that scoured the upper levels had died down to a whisper, and an odd oppressive silence seemed to be settling over the plain. Even the constant hum of our unified labor felt subdued, as if the world itself was holding its breath. I was laying a brick on the western face, looking out over the endless expanse of Shinear, when a strange feeling washed over me. It was a dizzying sensation, a moment of profound vertigo that had nothing to do with the height. For a fleeting second, the tower felt fragile beneath my feet. Not a mighty fortress, but a precarious stack of children's blocks. I looked at the brick in my hand, a simple, mundane object, and it suddenly seemed alien, its purpose unclear. I turned to Ashur, wanting to share this sudden unease. Ashur, I started to say, do you feel? But I stopped. The look on his face mirrored my own confusion. He was staring at his trowel as if he'd never seen one before. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, but the beauty was lost on us. A shadow, colder and deeper than the one cast by our tower, was creeping into our hearts. This morning, the feeling of wrongness is even stronger. As I climbed the ramp, the familiar morning greetings felt off. The words were the same, but they sounded hollow, disconnected. A carrier stumbled ahead of me, spilling a basket of bricks. The foreman shouted at him, but his voice, usually sharp and clear, sounded garbled, like words spoken underwater. The carrier just stared back, his face a mask of bewilderment. Now, up on the wall, the unease has blossomed into a quiet panic. I try to speak to Ashur. I open my mouth to ask for more bitumen. The word is on the tip of my tongue, a word I have said 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, but it won't come out right. What emerges is a jumble of sounds, meaningless and strange even to my own ears. Ashur looks at me, his eyes wide with alarm. He responds, but his words are just as nonsensical, a torrent of noise that I cannot comprehend. It sounds like the babbling of a brook, the chattering of birds, harsh and guttural. We stare at each other, two men who have worked side by side for years, suddenly strangers. Panic is a spark, and it's catching fire all around us. A cry from below, but it's not a word, just a sound of pure fear. I look down the ramp, and I see chaos erupting. Men are shouting at each other, their faces contorted with anger and confusion. A molder tries to explain something to a killmaster, waving his hands wildly. But the killmaster shoves him away, barking back in a completely different, clipped tongue. The single voice of Shinear has been shattered into 1,000 shards. Our greatest strength, our unity, has vanished in an instant. The tower, our monument to pride, no longer feels like a gateway to heaven. It feels like a tomb. The sky we sought to conquer now seems impossibly far away, and we, its builders, are scattered, lost, and utterly, terrifyingly alone. The work has stopped. The only sound now is a cacophony of confusion. The age of Babel is over.